Welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for April 6th, 2020. If you add up 462020, you actually get a 14, and if you add the 1 and the 4 together, you get the number 5. What is wellness? Since we are in the number 5 day, and it is about the physical body, let's take a look at what you might perceive as wellness. To me, wellness is a complex thing because each person's body requires very different things, and we need various things as we age. We have to learn how to feel into what our body needs in a moment and take a few risks to change out of habits that perhaps worked well for years and do something very new. I know that herbs and nutrition I needed when I was a dancer, but young and filled with excess life force, and what I need now are radically different. This is where honoring the body as its own being with wisdom and understanding is important. Most of us see their body as a lump of clay that allows the soul to be animated in this dimension, but I believe it is much more than that. It knows and needs things to operate at peak efficiency in this density. And while some are genetically built to handle tremendous stresses, others are much more delicate. Not surprisingly, I am one of those delicate ones. Almost nothing in my body is connected in a normal way. That is why I picked it in this life, so that I could have the sensitivity of being a psychic. But there are consequences to choosing such sensitivity, and so I have to listen carefully and pay great attention to the voice of my body. At times, I know that I need something, but have kind of trouble figuring it out. That is where other healers help tremendously. Often it is one ingredient that is missing, that when it is there, makes everything run smoothly and at peak efficiency. So, listen to your body today. Try to hear without judgment. Do not let the mind override the needs of the body. At this time in history, I am hearing from so many how much they did not realize how exhausted they were and how much they needed this break. So sleep, rest, and get the rest and the fuel that you are finally needing to be given to your body and give it a chance to heal. For some, that healing is on the physical level. But for others, it may be emotionally or spiritually. All forms of healing that need to happen, need to release are great to do this day. So relax and enjoy. Okay, the astrology for today. The moon is in practical Virgo, and it opposes Mercury in Pisces. Look towards using your spiritual anchors and connections to help you through this time. It is possible that you may want exactness and truth, but that may be hard to distinguish. Expect others to be volatile and act in hasty manners. That does not mean you have to. The moon trines Pluto. Emotionally, you are very active, and yet things seem one-sided. You want a full experience, but feel as if you get less than it then would give you clarity and relaxation, so it's kind of hard to enjoy it completely. The moon trines Jupiter, making a positive outlook attractive and hopeful if you could just get that pesky mind out of your way. Notice that you want validation, but sincerity might be as good as it's going to get. The moon goes into Libra in the late afternoon. Harmony becomes a quest that makes you happier. Family becomes the center of the reality. Spending time with them is precious, and some personal time with a mate is just what the doctor ordered. The moon in Libra trine Saturn in Aquarius brings duty to the forefront and a desire to take great care and deliberation to finish something up. The moon in Libra trine Venus and Gemini. The moon in Libra trining Venus and Gemini. That's right. Love is something that is adaptable and caring. Use it to stop any arguments and conflicts. And finally, Chiron and Vesta sextile. This is a challenging problem, and that problem will become obvious and is now necessary to be dealt with. That issue that is happening is blocking your personal potential. It is time to make a shift. It is time to pick a healthy path that is fulfilling and one that can carry you forward with grace and compassion. Okay, so my quote for today is, when in doubt, laugh. When in fear, become aware. When in anger, choose not to live in the past. When in resentment, let go. When in love, let it be. Okay, so my blog for today. Story time again. Okay, so I thought today I would share a funny story from one particular trip to Peru many years ago. Now, I used to take groups to Peru, and we would travel around the country with shaman and have spiritual celebrations and do, all sorts of, Quechua traditional teachings and experiences in the ancient temples and sanctuaries. And in one particular trip, we were traveling to Lake Titicaca, which is in Bolivia, but it also borders Bolivia, and then into Bolivia to see Tiwanaku, which is an amazing ancient city in western Bolivia. The problem arose when we got to Copacabana, which is in Peru, right at the edge of Lake Titicaca. And there happened to be a fuel embargo because Bolivia, which is a landlocked country in South America, was getting these huge tax increases in fuel prices. So the truck drivers decided to go on strike and use their trucks to blockade all the entrances into the country. And this had actually been going on for weeks by the time we got there. It just so happened that the border was going to be opened right as when we were going to try to get through. So that was great. It was awesome. And it was the first day after the strike. So everyone, of course, was trying to get through the checkpoint at the same time. The border checkpoint was a zoo. It was very busy. We were trying to get our passport stamped properly so we could go into Bolivia and then back across. And at first, it seemed like we were successful. We went into Bolivia, had a lovely day, but the delay at the border cost us critical time, and so we were a bit tight for time as we attempted to get back across the border to catch a plane. As we came to the border to go back to Peru, one of the clients on the trip did not get their passport properly stamped at the beginning, and suddenly we were stuck and potentially going to miss our plane. Now, at this point, I should say that everything had been prepaid by the clients, and while I was smart enough to have some extra money for wiggle room, I did not have the money to change everyone's plane tickets, nor the money for a hotel for everyone when another had already been paid for in Ica. That was where we were going to be later that evening. So, after much back and forth with the customs control immigration officers, I finally said bluntly in my American way, "How much money do I have to pay you?" meaning the customs official, "to get this properly stamped so we can make our plane?" And he said $50 US. So I paid the bribe and off we rushed to try to make our flight. Now, by this point, it is clear that we're probably not going to make the plane. In fact, it was highly unlikely that we would make the flight. So while I am trying to work with the travel agent to figure out hotels and the cost to stay in that small town where the airport was, one of the clients needed to pee badly. But we really did not know if we could stop. In desperation, she said to me, "Suzanne, hold up the blanket and I'm going to pee out the window of the bus." Everyone in the bus started to either laugh or go into shock. She said, "I am not going to be the one responsible for making everyone miss their plane." So the next thing is a visual that I will never forget. I'm holding up this blanket as she sticks her very white butt out the window. And I watch this stream of yellow pee go sideways on the window while we hear honking as the men driving in the other lane are watching this gringo woman with her butt out the window peeing. None of us could stop laughing. We were all completely hysterical. The woman who was peeing included. I can imagine what the Peruvian men thought as they look up from driving to see a gringo woman's ass sticking out the window. What a sight that must have been. There. I hope I put a smile on your face. We have to love humanity. We have to love our humanness. It's a very important thing. Thank you for listening. Bye.